All right, we're going to do a pre-trip video. We're going to start out with checking underneath the vehicle, make sure that there's no leaks. We're going to check our headlights, high and low beam, make sure they're clean, working, secure. Turn signals and hazards, clean, working, secure, proper color. Clearance lights, none missing, clean, working, secure, proper color. We're going to start with checking our coolant reservoir. Make sure it's secure, level and condition. All the hoses coming in and out, they're secure and not leaking, not damaged. We're going to check our exhaust. Make sure it's secure, under cab and side of the vehicle. Make sure that there's not leaking, no signs of any black soot. We'll check our water pump. Make sure it's secure, not damaged, not leaking. It is belt driven. Check our alternator and wires. Make sure it's secure, properly mounted, not damaged. It is also belt driven. Check the wires to make sure they're not frayed or cut and properly connected. And now we'll go to the other side. This side we'll start in, we'll check with our serpentine belt and drive belts. Make sure that they're not damaged, they're not frayed, not cut, no more than 3/4 of an inch play. Check our air compressor. Make sure it is secure, not leaking. Hoses coming in and out are not leaking and are secured, and it is gear driven. We already checked our oil for level and condition. We'll check our frame. Make sure it is not bent, not damaged, no illegal welds, no illegal holes. Check our shock absorber. Make sure it is secure, not damaged, not leaking. We'll come out, we'll check our power steering reservoir. Make sure it is level and condition, properly mounted, secure. The hoses coming in and out are secure, not leaking. Our steering gearbox. Make sure it's properly mounted, secure, not damaged, not cracked, not leaking. Check our pitman arm. Make sure it's secure, not damaged. Check our castle nut, both front and back. Make sure that they're secure and they have a cotter pin. Check our drag link. Make sure it's secure, not damaged. Check our steering arm knuckle. Make sure it's secure, not damaged. Check our tie rod down below down here. Make sure it's secure, not damaged, and greased on both ends. We'll come back up and we'll check our spring mounts, both front and back. Make sure they're properly secured, no bolts or nuts missing. Our leaf springs. Make sure that they're, properly aligned, secure, not cracked, none missing. Check our U-bolts. Make sure they're secure, no bolts missing, no damage. Come up, we'll check our brake lines and hoses coming into our brake chamber. Make sure that they are secure, not damaged, not leaking. Check our brake chamber. Make sure that we are secure, not damaged, not leaking. Our slack adjuster, push rod, and cotter pin, make sure they're secure, not damaged, no more than 1 inch pull by hand. Inside, we'll check our brake linings to make sure that we are secured. They're not oil soaked, not worn dangerously thin, and no less than 1/4 of an inch on the pad. Check our brake drums to make sure that they are not discolored, no cracks, no dents, no holes. Properly secured. We'll come out to our tires. We're going to check our tires for ICD, inflation, condition, and depth. Inflation, 100 psi. Condition, no bulges or cracks on the inside or the outside of the sidewalls. Our tread depth, no less than 4/32 of an inch, and they cannot be a recap on the steer tires. We'll check our rims, make sure they're not cracked, no illegal welds. Check all of our lug nuts, make sure they're all present, none missing, properly secured, and no rust or no white powder. Check our hub oil seal, make sure that we are proper level and condition, it's not leaking inner or outer, and it has a cap on it. Check our valve stem, make sure it's properly secured, not leaking, and it has a cap on it. We'll go to our driver's door. We'll check our door hinges, both outside and inside, here and here. Make sure that they're properly secured. The door opens and closes freely, and it has a rubber door seal on it here. We'll check our mirrors and mirror mounts, make sure they're properly secured. Mirrors are not damaged or broken. We'll check our signal indicator lights here and here. Make sure that they are left, right, and four-way. They are working, clean, proper color, properly secured. We'll check our side box. Make sure all of our emergency equipment is secured inside. Inside we'll have to have a 10BC fire extinguisher, three red reflective triangles, and spare fuses. We'll go from there to our fuel tank. Check underneath, make sure that we have no spills, no leaks. Check our fuel tank straps, front and back. Make sure they are properly secured, and make sure that they have a rubber insulator. We'll check our fuel cap to make sure it is secured, not leaking, and it has a rubber seal inside. On back, we'll come back here and we'll check our exhaust, the stack up here to make sure it's secured, not damaged, no leaks, no signs of black soot. We'll check our drive shaft. Make sure the drive shaft is secured, not bent. The universal joints are greased on both ends and they're properly secured. We'll check our DOT tape. Make sure that it's clean and present. Check our electrical line. We'll make sure that our electrical lines are locked in position. Right here we have locks. Make sure that won't pull out. We don't want these to be tangled, or no bare wires, no cuts, or no frays. Check our service and emergency lines, air lines here, to make sure they're properly connected, secure, they're not leaking, not damaged. We'll come back out here, we'll check our catwalk and our steps, make sure they're properly secured to the frame, not damaged, they're clear, no debris. We'll check our torsion bar and torque arm to make sure that they are secured, not damaged. We'll check our spring mounts, both front and rear. We'll make sure that they're secure, no bolts missing. Check our springs, make sure they're properly aligned, not damaged, none missing. We'll check our U-bolts, make sure that they're properly secured, no bolts missing. These are all inside, you cannot see these inside. We'll check our air lines and hoses once again, make sure that they are properly secured, not leaking. Brake chamber, make sure it's properly secured and it's not leaking, no damage. Slack adjuster push rod cotter pin, make sure it's secure, not damaged, no more than 1 inch pull by hand. Our brake linings, make sure that they're secured, not oil soaked, not worn dangerously thin, and not less than 1/4 inch on the pad. Check our brake drums, make sure that we have no discoloration, no holes, no cracks, properly secured. We come out to our tires. Our tires, we're going to check both of our tires, make sure that there are no debris in between the tires and they are evenly spaced. We're going to check our tires for inflation, condition, and depth. 100 psi, both tires. No bulges or cracks on the inside or the outside, both tires. No less than 2/32 of an inch tread depth, both tires. These can be a recap. We're going to come out and check our rims. Make sure that there's no cracks, no illegal welds, properly secured. Our lug nuts, none missing, properly secured, no rust, no white powder. Our axle grease seal, we're going to check it to make sure that it is not leaking inside or out, and it has a cap on it. Check our valve stems to make sure that they are properly secured, they're not leaking, and they have a cap on them. We'll come back here, we're going to check our shock absorber, which is hidden back here. We're going to check to make sure that it's secured, not damaged, not leaking. We're going to check our airbag to make sure it's secured, not damaged, not leaking. Now this is our drive axle, the front drive axle. We're going to check this axle just like we did this axle, but they're the same. We're going to come back, we're going to check our mud flap, make sure it's secured, not missing, not dragging the ground. It has DOT tape on it. We're going to check our lights, stop, tail, turn, backing, and hazard. Make sure they're clean, working, proper color, all secured. We're going to come back up and check our fifth wheel. Our fifth wheel here, our plate, make sure it's secured. There's no air gap between the apron and the fifth wheel. It's properly greased and it's all secured, no damage, no cracks. Our arm release safety latch right here, we'll make sure it's in the lock position. We're going to go around and look into the back of the fifth wheel to make sure that the kingpin and the locking jaws are locked around the kingpin is straight and not bent. While we're under here, we're going to go ahead and check our apron. Our apron is what sets on the fifth wheel. We're going to make sure it is secured, not damaged, not cracked. We're going to check our cross members to make sure all of our cross members are in place, all down the trailer, down through here, the full length of the trailer. There are none missing, properly secured, not damaged. Out here, we're going to check our cross member bolts, which are out here. Make sure that they're all secured and none missing. And that takes care of our tractor. On our trailer, we're going to start with the header board. Make sure that there's no holes, no damage. Check our clearance lights. They're called clearance lights because they're clear up there. Make sure that they are proper color, properly secured, clean, working, not damaged. Come down, we're going to check our electrical line on the trailer side. Make sure it is locked in the lock position here. It is secured, no bare wires, no cuts, no frays. Check our service and emergency air lines again. Make sure that the connections are good on both. They are not leaking. We're going to check our glad hands to make sure that we have a rubber seal in here. They're secured and not leaking. Now there we're going to come out and check out the entire length of our trailer, the overall condition, make sure there's no holes, no damage in the side of the trailer. We're going to check our DOT tape, make sure it's clean and present the full length of the trailer. We're going to check our lower and upper side rails to make sure that they are secured, not damaged, not broken. Come back to our landing gear. The landing gear is secured to the frame, not damaged. Check to make sure that our feet or our pads are present, not missing. They are fully raised, and make sure our handle is in a secured position. On back, we're going to check our midship light. Make sure it's clean, working, proper color, left, right, and four-way. It's all secured. Underneath, we're going to check our air lines and hoses. Make sure that they're properly suspended. They're not dragging the ground. They're all secured. They're not damaged, and they're not leaking. Back here, we're going to check our tandem slide. Make sure our locking pins, you have 4 pins, 2 on each side. Make sure that they are in the locked out position on both sides. They're all secured, not damaged. Check our arm release to make sure that it is in the lock position and is not damaged. On this axle here, we're going to do as the same as the drive axle, but all we have to do is name our components. We don't have to give a description. So we're going to check our spring mounts, both front and rear, our springs, our U-bolts, to make sure that there's not damage. And we're going to check them just as we did up front on the front axle. We're going to check our air lines and hoses, our brake chamber, slack adjuster push rod cotter pin, brake drums, brake linings, just as we did on the drive axle. We're going to check our tires, our rims, our lug nuts, our hub oil seal, our valve stems, just as we did on the drive axle. Like I said, you just have to name your components. You don't have to give a description. We're going to check this set of duals just like this set of duals, but they're the same. We're going to check our door tie. Make sure our door tie is secured, not missing, not damaged. We're going to check our indicator light and our ABS light, if equipped. Some trailers do, some trailers don't. To make sure that they are clean, working, proper color, and not damaged. We're going to check our mud flap. Make sure it is secured, not missing, not dragging the ground. Back here, we're going to check the overall condition of our doors. Make sure there are no holes, no damage. We're going to check our door hinges to make sure that they are secured, none missing, and they work properly. The doors open and close, swing freely. Here we're going to check our door latches and door locks. Make sure our bars are not bent and they're straight. Make sure that the latches are latched both top and bottom, and the door locks are in proper position. We're going to check our DOT tape, both top and bottom. Make sure it's clean and present and attached. We're going to check our running lights. These are your running lights. We're going to make sure our running lights are proper color, clean, working, and secured. Here we're going to check our stop, tail, turn, and hazard. Make sure that all of our lights are working, proper color, and not damaged. We're going to check our license plate, make sure it is clean, up to date, and secured. Our license plate light, clean, working, proper color, and secure. And we're going to check our DOT bumper to make sure it is secured and not severely damaged. All right, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to ask your tester if you can start your truck and start your end cab. So just, may I start the truck? And he's going to say yes. You're going to show him that you're performing a safe start, meaning you're going to put your clutch in, start your vehicle, make sure it's in neutral, and slowly release your clutch. You're going to check to make sure that your ABS light goes out. You're going to first check your seat belt. You're going to pull your seat belt around. You're going to make sure that it latches properly. You're going to make sure that your steering wheel is adjusted for you. You're going to make sure your seat's adjusted for you. You're going to check your city horn, your country horn. You're going to check all of your glass. Make sure all of your glass is clean. It's not cracked, not broken, no illegal stickers. You're going to check your mirrors to make sure that they are properly adjusted, they're clean, and they're not cracked or damaged. You're going to check your indicator lights inside. You're going to check your right turn, your left turn, your four ways, and your I-beam indicator. You're going to turn your headlights on. You're going to check your panel lights, make sure all your panel lights work. Just turn them on, leave them on. You're going to check your heater, your defroster, and your air conditioner on high and low. You're going to show him that everything works. Check your windshield wipers, both on low, on high. You're also going to show him that your windshield washer works. Squirt some juice on there. You're also going to check your windshield wiper blades to make sure that they are firmly against the glass. They're not cut, they're not torn, they're not damaged. You're going to do a tug test. We're going to push in our yellow valve. Put this in low gear. Give a gentle tug. We're checking our trailer brakes there. Pull it out. Push the red valve in. Now we're going to check our tractor brakes. Same thing. Gentle tug. And you're going to release both your valves. We're going to pull forward ahead 5 miles per hour. And what you're checking for there is number one, that your service brakes check to stop your vehicle, but you're also checking to make sure you're not pulling right or left. All right, now we're going to do a 3-point brake check. Try and get the steering wheel out of the way here. We're going to look at our gauges right here, our air gauges. We have number 1, number 2 on this truck. This is primary, this is secondary. We'll use our primary gauge. Tester is going to tell you to pump it down to 90 psi. So you pump it down to 90. and then you're going to tell him that the compressor is going to kick in. You're not going to hear it, you're not going to see it, but it kicks in. We're going to build air pressure up to between 120 and 140 psi. At that time your compressor will kick out, you'll hear the psh sound, and your gauges will stop moving. I'll accelerate to build pressure a little faster. Just heard it sound. Then you want to turn your truck off. Turn the key back to the on position. Push both your air protection valves in. After they stabilize, you're going to press and hold your brake pedal down for approximately 1 minute. Just push it and hold it. And what you're checking for here is you're checking your pressure to make sure you don't lose any more than 3 psi for a single unit or 4 psi for a combination unit. After you hold that for 15 or 20 seconds, your tester will say, okay, you can let up. So you let off the brake. Now you're going to check your warning devices. Now you're going to pump your brakes down to approximately 60 psi. At that time, your warning light and buzzer will come on. That's what you're looking for. After that, then you're going to pump your brake pedal down to approximately 40 psi, at which time your brake protection valves will pop out. This time you want to make sure and watch your protection valves and make sure they pop out. That's your 3-point brake check.